Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com. Cindy Grossman. New York City born and raised, luxury retail management was her game. Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom were her jewelry playgrounds. Had enough at 38, fled to Miami, where Neiman Marcus Bal Harbour found her. Recruited to Mont Blanc, where her regional position challenged her. Met her husband 4 years ago, and Brevard County she did go. COVID hit, she needed a new career fit. Age-defying beauty with Mary Kay, she did say. And now, here's Cindy Grossman.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to Mesmerize the Mirror at Any Age. We ended our last show with Debby Montgomery Johnson talking about the woman behind the smile. Now, we were just getting into the whole situation where she met someone on a dating site and the finances started to be asked for. First, it was a check to help his friend out. Now it's already money for a power of attorney. So let's continue. Debby, please.
Well, it went on, as you can imagine, for 2 years. It was on again, off again, as far as he was supposed to come and then he wasn't. Something was always happening. And, after about 2 weeks, you get drawn in. You get drawn into his family. I talked. When I say talked, it was on Yahoo Chat. So I got to know his sister, who was in England, and his little boy was also in England. I got to know his attorney, who was traveling with him sometimes, and with him. And there was one night when I was on Yahoo Chat, I had 4 chat boxes open, and I was going back and forth between each one of them, using what I learned from one to find out about the other. And it was just an extraordinary family situation that had been developing over the months and years, because it went on for 2 years. But as far as the money goes, it turned out that I became somewhat of a partner in his business, where we were trying to get these trees over to India, and there were customs problems, there were tariffs, there were all sorts of issues at the loading docks, and things cost money. And I didn't have the money all the time. I found it. I sold jewelry. I loaned jewelry, got loans against jewelry. I sold investments that I had. I sold some of my trees that I had in Costa Rica, because at that point he had become part of my family. And I thought that we were going to be together. We were going to get married when he got back. I really had fallen in love with this guy. And it's extraordinary how that even happens, but there's a whole process to it, and we will get into that. But there's a psychology to the scam, because I know by now people know that this turned into a very expensive financial scam. And I'll give you the number so we can have that vacuum. It was in total over a year or 2 years, it was $1,080,762. And I like to say that I didn't have that million. I didn't have it in the bank, but I found it because he had become family to me, and I would do anything for my family. If you think about that, we would do anything for our children, our spouses, our parents. And so it was never giving it to him. It was a loan. There was always a response from him saying, just help me get through this. And when I get paid, it'll come back to you, and it'll, we'll be able to live well forever. And I even at the end, had to ask I asked my parents to help. And that's the whole thing. I asked them for money, and my father actually said, Dad, don't tell Mom. And he said, nope, we've been married 50 something years, 60 years. He goes, I need to tell your mother. And they didn't think there was a problem. Although early on, my father's thinking, well, why is this guy not coming? But 2 years in, who in the world is thinking that this is a scam when you've been talking to this person for 2 years? And so I got my parents involved, and when it all fell apart, it was very interesting, because one morning he came online onto Yahoo Chat, and he started the conversation that morning saying, Deb, how do you feel about forgiveness? Well, we've been on a faith-based site, right? We talked about scriptural things and spiritual things throughout the years. And so we carried on the conversation for a couple of hours, and I told him how I felt, and I really had to, get my scriptures out and wear it. The forgiveness is 7 times 7, and it was up to me to forgive. But then we got disconnected, and when he came back on a little bit later, which was not unusual that we would get disconnected from the internet, he said, do you remember what we were talking about? So we revisited it, and I finally said, did I do something wrong? Why are we talking about forgiveness? And he said, Deb, I have something to tell you that it's going to hurt you. And I'm thinking, you don't really need to do that. You don't have to hurt me. He said, I have a confession to make. And when I heard that, that was like a gut punch for me, because I'd heard that once in my 26-year marriage, and it wasn't a good thing, but we got over it. But when he said that he had a confession to make to me, he kept writing and said, I have to confess that this has all been a scam. And I'm looking at that on my screen going, what's a scam? I said, this has been 2 years. What are you talking about? And I said, are you sick? So what's wrong? And I finally said, you're lying. You have to prove to me that what you're saying now is the truth. And he said, I will come on live on Yahoo Chat. There's a little camera. And now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, for 2 years I've been asking you to do that. And he actually walks me through him coming online on Yahoo Chat. And I'm looking at my dual screen computer, handsome Brit, all the pictures I have of him, and up pops the little camera. And I'm looking now at a young, dark-haired, dark-eyed, dark-skinned young man with a big smile on his face. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what has happened here? And I pulled out my phone. I actually have a picture of the real guy. His name was Joseph. And it's in my book. It's the only picture that I have of the real man. And he's a young guy. He's probably in his 30s. He was from Nigeria. And I'm thinking, why did you do this? And for me, it was honestly, that was probably the best thing that had happened, is that he came on live and confessed, because most scammers, most criminals don't confess.
Never do.
Why would he do that?
He told me that he had developed feelings for me over the years, and I've been told by others that that may be part of the scam. But I have to believe that over 2 years, a little bit of my goodness and kindness rubbed off on him, and he didn't want to do it anymore. That makes me feel good. You know, I'll never get the money back, but at least I feel that. And I asked him, I said, how did you do it? Why did you do it? And are you doing it to anybody else? And if you are, stop. And he said he had siblings. And it's interesting. I was interviewed by National Geographic. The show is called Traffic by Mariana Van Zeller. And she went over to Ghana and talked to scammers over there. And their reasoning for doing it is, first off, they feel like they deserve it. They deserve to scam us. But he also said that there's not a lot of jobs over there. This is in Nigeria and in Ghana. And there aren't a lot of good ways for them to make money. But they are very good, and they were taught by Americans years ago, to have call centers. And they are being trained in universities in Nigeria on the art of the scam. And it's not one guy, it's not a he, it is a they. They work in big organizations. It is organized crime, and they are making trillions of dollars a year from people all over the world. And what I wanted to talk about too is that it's not online dating necessarily. It's relationship scam. And relationships start in business. They start in gaming. I work with women at SCARS that have been married women that were taken on a game site called Words with Friends. Then I work with folks that have a gal from Vietnam who was she was on a translation site. She was helping a gentleman who was coming to Vietnam with some banking lingo, and that was a translation site. Any social media, LinkedIn, Facebook dating, you name it, there are scammers. And they are very good at what they do with artificial intelligence and all sorts of things. They are so well financed. They are so far ahead of us, and they think differently than we do. If they could do for good what they do for bad, it would be extraordinary. What I want folks to understand is that this can happen to men, a lot of men, but they're not going to tell because they're terrible victims. It happens to women. It happens to older folks. It happens to young ones. The age groups primarily that we work with are 50 and over, and also now 13 to 18. And you say, well, 13 to 18-year-olds don't have money, but they have access to their parents' credit cards. And all they have to do is get a hold of that card and give the guy on the phone who they're looking for love with the numbers of the credit card, and the guy's laughing his way to the bank. They're looking for it's the grandmother scam. You know, when you get the phone call saying, Grandma, I've been hurt and don't call my mom, but I need $10,000. And they'll have older folks running to Walmart to get a gift card, or Western Union to get money.
Yeah, that happened to my nephew's grandfather. Not my father, but his other grandfather. Yeah. Yes. Unbelievable what they come up with.
They're very creative. It's the IRS scam. It's any kind of advance fee money where they're asking for fees. It was originally the lottery scam, the prince, you know, the African prince or whatever. It is really
money, right?
Yeah, they've upped their game though. They are extraordinarily well trained, and it is organized crime.
I had a
Mitchell, if you were
client.
going to ask a question.
I had a client that actually went to Nigeria,
Yes.
and I think
Very dangerous.
it was because many Americans have been killed. Well, he went there. He met like people that were government officials supposedly. So, and I think he invested $25,000, and of course he never got any of it back. And then they still contacted him afterwards with other stories, but
Right.
Incredible.
Well, and I think the thing that we want to talk about, we'd actually touched on it before the show, about Tinder swindler.
Yes.
And the big scam now,
Hold that thought right there.
What?
We're going to take a quick break and we will come back with that one. Yes. I'm sure a lot of people have watched that, but you introduced us to a new one, so we'll find out about that. Thank you. Be right back.
Need an enlightening pick-me-up? Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy to energize your skin and keep it looking fabulous forever. Kristen can help with hair removal, sugaring to keep your whole body smooth and conditioned. Kristen will help you refresh and defend your skin while giving you a customized facial. Cindy helps skinergize and get you camera ready for your everyday look or special occasion. Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy. Find them on Facebook under the Skinergy Squad.
At Compass Pest Control, we focus on killing pests where they live and breed by terminating them outside your home or office before they can get in. Hi, I'm Chris Hudman, co-owner of Compass Pest Control. We prevent roaches, ants, and other pests from getting inside with a proactive approach. We don't stop there. We also offer lawn and plant health programs. And we'll never sell you something you don't need. At Compass Pest Control, our prices are competitive, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Get a free estimate. Visit CompassPests.com.
Who's got time to clean? When you need it clean, call Germ Wizards LLC. Using the most up-to-date equipment, Germ Wizards pays strict attention to detail. They make dust disappear. Whether you need your office to sparkle, your home to shine, or you want to give someone a great gift, hire the Germ Wizards. It's easy to get a quote online. There's even an online portal to discuss details directly with your cleaning professional. Visit GermWizardsLLC.com. Make dust disappear with Germ Wizards.
Summer is here, and it's a great time to create your outdoor room at Sunshine Furniture. Now, during our July clearance sale, you can save an additional 10% on all in-stock patio furniture from Lloyd Flanders, Woodard, Windward, Beechcraft, Pollywood, Berlin Gardens, and more. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have anything you need, all built to withstand the Florida elements, and we also specialize in cushions, umbrellas, outdoor rugs, and fire pits. For inside, we have the largest selection of coastal sofas, sleeper sofas, dining sets, recliners, and bedroom groups in light and airy coastal colors by Four Seasons, Capri, and Universal, including a gallery of Tommy Bahama. Come in now for our July sale, including 50% off all pictures, lamps, and accessories. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com. Also, don't forget our outlet and sales center right across the street.
Sunshine Furniture. The law offices of Goldman, Monahan, Tucker, and Bettine is here to help you with your personal legal challenges, business needs, and real estate matters. Since 1984, we have assisted countless numbers of Florida individuals and businesses with their legal issues, from trusts and estates, wills, real estate, and civil or criminal litigation. We pride ourselves on maintaining lifelong client relationships and would appreciate the opportunity to assist you and your family as well. Please call 321-639-1320 for further information on the law offices of Goldman, Monahan, Tucker, and Bettine. I'm a non-attorney spokesman.
And we are back with Debby, learning all about the woman behind the smile. Now we're gonna talk more about what we were saying with the Tinder swindler, and I know you mentioned something about a female kind of version of that.
Yeah, the Netflix show is called Inventing Anna. And Tinder swindler was the Israeli diamond billionaire, who took advantage of the three young women. And in that show, the girls became they got victim blamed and were called gold diggers. where he's now proclaiming his innocence. In Inventing Anna, she was a German heiress where she actually came to New York and she swindled a lot of money. She convinced the upper crust realtors and bankers and whatever that she was actually this heiress and she had a lot of money and had access to a lot of money. And she turned out to be almost well, they portray her to be a Robin Hood kind of a character, but she swindled a lot of people and it ended up finally in jail. Got out and then picked up on a bad passport or something like that. But the problem here is that the two characters, those are based on real stories, those people are out still making money based on their con. And the victims are now left to recover somehow. And it's very difficult because most financial fraud like this, you will not get any money back. It's interesting that it's morphed from the online dating now to the biggest scam today in the financial world is called pig butchering. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it came out of China. Pig butchering is actually a relationship scam where they pretend to be an investment. They have investments and they want to teach you how to make investments. So say you and I and Mitchell are buddies and I've made some money in an investment, it's cryptocurrency. And you and I have made some money, but Mitchell doesn't know anything about it. So we're going to train him on how to do it. And he's going to give us $500 and we're going to invest it. And it looks like a true investments plan where the landing sites, the websites, everything looks really good. You put your money in, you make some money, they give you some money back. And then they're like, well, we're going to invest some more. Why don't you do it too? And before you know it, you've given your retirement funds, hundreds of thousands of dollars are being put into these cryptocurrency scams. And then all of a sudden, poof, they're gone. It's like, it's not this 2-year relationship building. It is maybe a couple of months where they've got you investing because it looks real. And that's the thing. They are very good at making things look real. And it's just smoke and mirrors. It's unfortunate, but it's hurting a lot of people. And that's the big problem here is that people think, well, it's just a scam. And it's not just a scam. It ruins your life. It ruins your heart, your finances, your family, your friends. You get victim blame, which is very difficult because you're blaming yourself for being, I was stupid, I was vulnerable, I was whatever. And you're not. The scammers, our criminals are so well trained that they can get you from hello. If you engage in somebody that you don't know and you say hello, they know they can get you. It's just a matter of time. There is an art to this art to the scam. There's a psychology. It's called the amygdala hijack, where they might ghost you. They might love bomb you for a little bit. It's not called ghosting. That's when they drop you. But this love bomb where they'll just start telling you what you want to hear. Or if it's financial, they're like, well, we can make you a lot of money. And we call that chasing the money. It's kind of like a gambler when you're when you want to get that money. And particularly during this pandemic, a lot of people want to augment their monies. They want to make a little bit of money and they think, well, if my buddy is making this money in this financial stuff, well, I can too. And then when they get taken, it's leading to people losing their homes, losing obviously all their finances. In some cases, 20 a day around the world, people are committing suicide. So this is a serious problem. It is not, someone was taken in a love bomb, in a love relationship. I wasn't desperate. I was vulnerable because I had lost my husband and I was trying to do things on my own. I was not desperate. I was not desperate Debbie looking for love somewhere. I was manipulated. And when the FBI told me that, I hated that. I did not want to be manipulated. And I don't know how I did it, but I actually got back online fairly soon after that to prove to myself that I could do it. And the happy part of my story is I have remarried. It'll be 7 years in October.
That's great.
But I met my guy through a friend who is a matchmaker, so I'm real big on
there you go, matchmakers. That's a good one.
Matchmaker.
Yeah, that's great.
But it's a really serious issue, and anybody, like I said, anybody can be taken, regardless of age, sex, religion, race, you name it. The scammers are after everybody, and they don't care who they hurt or how they hurt them.
Debbie, did they ever find the person in Nigeria, and were there any consequences to him?
I don't know, and I actually didn't pursue it, and probably not. It's very difficult to find someone that is over there. However, recently, the Nigerians are coming over here, and I was out in Dallas for a case of federal court case in Dallas where it actually was a scam where there were 88 victims, and almost all of them were over 60. So in federal court, that was considered a crime against the elderly. So that had some extra penalties to it. This one gentleman, he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s, was one of many of these scammers, but one of few that get caught. And he was actually caught because he was in Dallas. And the FBI, and this is one thing where when I say we, I'm on the board of SCARS, the Society of Citizens Against Relationship Scams. We always encourage people to go to law enforcement, not because we're going to get your money back, but because they need to get the information into law enforcement. The FBI did create a case here in Dallas where they were able to pull together bank accounts and numbers, and even this fellow was having packages sent to his neighbor, and they got the Ring videos of her accepting packages and him going over and getting them and him counting cash. It was amazing. But it turns into money laundering because they'll have people send cash to a post office box somewhere or to somebody else. They'll receive it. They will go out and buy cars. In this particular case, they went and bought old cars, used cars, and then they shipped them to Nigeria. In Nigeria, those cars get sold. Now they have effectively laundered money. So they're not catching them in Nigeria because they're scamming. They're catching them because they're not paying taxes. It's tax evasion over there. And if you're in a bad area of town and you're walking around with a lot of cash or a lot of gold or nice cars, they know something's going on here. And so they are catching them a little bit at a time. But like I said, this is a $1 trillion business. And there are many, many, many scammers around the world, hundreds of thousands of scammers around the world, and it's very difficult to catch them. So what we need to do is slow them down. And the only way to do that is to let everybody know that this is happening, and it's happening to everybody. And if somebody asks you for money, if you don't know them, even if you do know them right now, no is the answer. Right. Absolutely no. Dead no. When I went in and was questioned about, well, do you know this guy? At that point, I felt like I did know him.
Right.
So that's the thing. We gotta make sure that if you don't see the whites of their eyes within 2 weeks in person, online it's a scam. If you never see him in person or see him, it's a scam. These are those red flags, which I call pink flags.
Right. So would you say that's your number one, I guess, tip for the ladies and the gentlemen? If you don't see the person within 2 weeks, it's definitely got to be some kind of scam, especially now because there's FaceTime and there's all different ways to, WhatsApp is a great way also to be able to see the people.
But WhatsApp and Google Hangouts are great places for scammers. So I would really stay away. I would stay away from that.
Look out.
But even on FaceTime and on pictures, I mean, they know how to. I interviewed a retired colonel for my show, which is called Stand Up and Speak Up. A retired colonel whose picture had been used by scammers for thousands of profiles. And when I went to interview him, I was going to do it via Zoom, and he said, I won't do that because the scammers can change what I say, and they can. They can change. And if you think about it, with us watching Netflix over the last 2 years, my husband and I watch a lot of shows from Europe. And we're looking at them, hearing English, but they're speaking Swedish or German or something. And
yes,
your mind will tell you what it wants to hear,
Definitely.
So you just got to be very careful.
Yeah. Well, this has been an incredible story. Thank you so much for coming on, Debbie, and sharing it. Where can people pick up the book?
They can get it on Amazon. It's called The Woman Behind the Smile. And I've also written a book called A Gift Called Fearless. And that's where I'm like, just, be fearless in whatever you do. And that's, for me, being fearless about speaking up and being involved with SCARS. And this is what I want to get out before we leave. If anybody has been taken or family members, please go to romancescamsnow.com. It is our SCARS website. It's an encyclopedia of relationship scams. You can find out everything that you need to do, every scam that's out there that we've written about. It's an incredible resource. And contact me. You can go to The Woman Behind the Smile and contact me, especially if you've been a victim. I don't care to hear from people that want to blame me or shame me because I don't have time for that. This is way too important. It may not happen to you, but it could happen to your mother, your brother, your father, your son. It could happen to your best friend. And you do not want to be the one saying, well, gosh, I heard Deb's story, but I didn't tell you. So it's real important to let people know that this is happening every single day, and it's important. And I'm really grateful for you guys to help me get the word out.
Thank you.
Well,
Sounds
thank you
great.
for your
Thank
resilience.
you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. There's a lot more, so.